Day 6, October 24th, 2024, 11:35 a.m. Prosecutor Nick McClelland. I call Steve Mullin. September 21st, 2022. Mullins. I received a phone call from Tony Liggett. He had located some paperwork about richardallen. McClelland. Anything additional? Did Doolin forward paperwork? Mullin. Yes, to myself and Liggett. We reviewed if anyone had talked to richardallen since Doolin. Nobody had spoken to him. We looked at his DMV. He had 2 vehicles registered, a 2006 Ford 500 and a 2016 black Ford Focus. I went to the Hoosier Harvestore security video to see if I can locate either vehicle on the video for the time period of 1:30 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. Liggett stopped at the CVS where Allen worked and took pictures of the vehicle. We wanted to see if we could find that vehicle. McClelland enters exhibit number 244 and 245, which are the photos that Liggett took of Allen's vehicle at the CVS a few days after September 21st, 2022. Mullin. We went back and looked at the Hoosier Harvester video for that time period, before noon, sometime around 1 p.m. and beyond. Yes, we found a vehicle. There are frames on the Hoosier Harvester video at the edge of the security footage. 1:27:35 p.m. is the timestamp. The vehicle was traveling from east to west. Baldwin. Objection. McClelland. Preliminary question. The vehicle matched? Mullin. My opinion based on facts was that the vehicle description matched. Baldwin. Objection. McClelland. Mullin can testify about his opinion on the video. Judge Gall. Overruled. McClelland. Frame by frame, second by second, I enter exhibits numbers 233 to 242, all 9 seconds of the video. Baldwin. Objection. Characterization. Mullin. At 1:27:35, the vehicle travels from east to west, a total of 9 seconds. The cameras were located on the west side of the Hoosier Harvestore Building. McClelland. I'd like to enter exhibit number 243, which is a blown-up picture of the close-up of the car from the Hoosier Harvestore security camera. It's the zoomed-in version. Mullin gets down off the witness stand and approaches the large map on the stand. He describes the 9 seconds, frame by frame, points to the location on the west side of the Hoosier Harvestore Building where the camera was located, and uses his hands to show on the map where the 9 seconds of camera reach ends at the first building on the south side of 300 North. I did a small video on this exact location at 300 North, and you'll find that in the link in the description in this video. Mullin. I can't see the license plate. I couldn't see the driver, and I couldn't see the VIN number for the vehicle. McClelland. What were the distinguishing characteristics? Mullin. The general shape, it was a hatchback. The taillights, the bumper, the wheels, and the rims. The car had black sports rims. I could see daylight through to the other side. It was possible to see through the spokes. Daylight was coming through. Allen had told me that he arrived at the CPS building around 1:30. The vehicle shows it almost exactly at 1:30 p.m. States exhibit number 5. Mullin points to the CPS. Naturally, we followed up. 1967 Whiteman Drive is off 200 North. On October 13, 2022, we drove to his residence, knocked, and he answered. Tony Ligon and I. McClelland, what happened? Mullin, we asked him to come for questions at the Unified Command on 9th Street. He was under no obligation to do so. We told him he was not under arrest. He agreed. He was in plain clothes and we were too. No cuffs were put on. We transported him in a 2014 unmarked Buick. We advised him of his rights. We Mirandized. Note, I observe Allen in the well of the court, taking his glasses off and putting them back on again. Mullin, Allen told us that he went to his mother's house that day. He visited. He was off work that day. His wife Kathy was working. He said he left his mother's between 11 and 11:15 a.m. He returned home, got a jacket, rode out to the trail, and walked past three girls. He was on his stock ticker walking towards the High Bridge. He believed he parked at the old CPS building. He told us that he arrived at 12 p.m. and left at 1:30 p.m. Please note, this is a different time than what Allen had told Captain Doolin on February 18th, 2017. Mullin, he said he started at the entrance to the trailhead and walked to the High Bridge. He stated that he looked at fish. He said that he walked to the first platform and stood on the High Bridge. From this conversation, he said he saw three girls walking away. He was going towards the High Bridge. He ran into them at what I call the entrance. He believed he was driving the 2016 Ford Focus, the same vehicle that he still had. McClelland, did he recall how he got there? Mullin, he said he might have gone through country roads. He said he normally goes through the city to get to the trail. The city way was traveling east on Main Street to 300 North. The country route, he would have traveled east on 200 North, turned left, left again, and drove west on 300 North. McClelland, how long was he there? Mullin, he estimated an hour. McClelland, did he tell you what had precipitated him to report to law enforcement? Mullin, he told his wife he had been on the trails. He said he was wearing a black or blue Carhartt jacket, a skull cap, military-style boots or shoes, and jeans. He said that one of the girls appeared to be older and she may have been babysitting. He gave us his passcode to his phone and let us look at it. At some point, he became agitated and he terminated the interview by walking out of the room. He said he didn't believe he was there as late as 3:30 p.m. We showed him the photo of Bridge Guy and told him that we needed to determine if he is BG. He responded oddly, quote, if the picture was taken with the girl's camera, there's no way it was him, end quote. When we initially asked him questions about his car, he said he had purchased it new. It's 12:08 p.m. and court adjourns on a lunch break until 1:30 p.m. At 1:25 p.m., Richard Allen enters the courtroom. Attorney Jennifer Auger pats Allen on the back, and Allen raises his eyebrows at Investigator Matt Hoffman. Allen looked very worried, and he stared for a very long time at a pregnant journalist in the front row. I'll just have to say it was quite uncomfortable to watch. Cross-examination. Baldwin, you are so desperate for the right. McClelland, I object to the tone of the question. Baldwin, he possibly drove the country road. Mullin, is there a question? Baldwin, did you testify before lunch That he possibly, McClellan, objection. Judge Gall, sustained. Mullin, that's the impression. Baldwin, you don't understand the question? October 13th, 2022. Rick's actual words and his body language. We have to trust your judgment. Find in this transcript where Allen says he may have gone west on 300 North on February 13th. Mullin looks through the transcript of the October 13th, 2022 interview. Mullin, driven by the Mears entrance. That's a statement. Baldwin, strike that. I'm looking for when you testified under oath. He may have gone westbound. I notice at this point of testimony that Allen and Rosie are talking in the well of the court. And Allen is nodding his head up and down. It's 1:40 p.m. 7 or 8 minutes went by while Mullins looks through the transcript. Very cautiously and confidently, he's looking through to find what he wants. Then he says, Mr. Allen said he had gone past the High Bridge entrance, which is also the Mears. There were a couple of vehicles, page 45. There. Possibly could have gone that direction. Baldwin. His normal route was through the city. McClellan. Mr. Baldwin is inserting his own opinion. Objection. To form of question again. Mullin. I had already surmised it was his vehicle. Baldwin. Oh, you surmised it. Mullin. We would like for him to confirm it for us. Page 34, 35, 36. Baldwin holds up the testimony. His hand is shaking. He's holding the interview paperwork up. Read it to yourself. You asked him very specifically, which way do you think you would have gone that day? The loop around? McClellan. Judge, may we approach? Judge Gall. Sure. It's 1:47 p.m. I observe male juror number 5, who ended up being the jury foreman, looking out and examining the public in the gallery. After a few minutes, Baldwin returns to his questioning. Rick Allen told you that he took the loop 300 North eastbound. That's what he told you. Mullin, inaudible. Baldwin, not going to have you go through. Baldwin, I'm not going to have you go through and look when. Mullin, one possible route that he took, yes. Baldwin, look at page 35, 15 to 18. I haven't done the proper way. We did the depot. The depot on October 1st. I'm sorry. Baldwin is confused during this part of the trial. He continues. You interviewed Rick Allen on October 13th. Mullin, what are you referring to, sir? Baldwin, you asked Rick Allen what route he took, the one that loops around? McClellan, I object to the form of the question. Gall, sustained. Baldwin, you asked, was there any other way that you drove? Mullin, correct. Baldwin, you asked him that because in the video, is it possible? Mullin, you're misquoting. Those are not the words from the transcript. Baldwin, quote, was there ever a time when you went another way? McClellan, objection. He's putting into. Baldwin, you asked Rick Allen a second time, page 36. You attempted a second time. McClellan, objection, ask and answer. Mullin, what was the question? Baldwin, You attempted a second time to ask if he took a route around. If you were going to the park, the High Bridge, you would go through town. Mullin, it's not how I interpreted it. If we were going there. Baldwin, words matter. Wouldn't you agree? Words on the stand matter. Especially when the words impact a timeline in a case like this. You told me that he took the scenic way. Mullin, that's my interpretation, yes. Baldwin, Rick Allen told you that he could have been driving his gray car that day. Mullin, at the beginning, yes. Baldwin, you also said it was odd. Quote, if I'm in the picture that the girls took, end quote. Mullin, yes. Baldwin, from 1:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the CPS Building, is your theory right? It contradicts. You ever hear of a lady named Betsy Blair? Does this look like a 1965 comet to you? Baldwin holds up a picture of a black car. It's an 8.5 by 11-inch, Exhibit 244. Judge Gull, has that evidence been admitted yet? McClelland, may we approach? It's 2 p.m. Baldwin, were you the law enforcement officer that was lost in 2017? McClelland, objection, outside the scope of direct. Judge Gull, sustained. McClelland, Investigator Mullin, when you were answering questions from me about Rick Allen, were you going by direct quotes from Rick Allen? Mullin, not necessarily. This is the end of Steve Mullin's testimony. Jury questions. Jury question number 1. Sir, were you in an interview with Mr. Allen and he didn't remember which way he took to the trail? Mullin, yes, he did say that. Baldwin, is there a videotape interview that shows that? Mullin, yes. Jury question number 2. Did you investigate how many black 2016 Ford Focuses were registered in the Carroll County area? Mullin, no. Jury question number 3. Did you look to see if his other car was on the video? Mullin, yes. McClelland, did you see his other car on the video? Mullin, no.